Tiny Tarot, hey, what have you got to say today? I am LowKey Magickal, aka Crystina Smart, and I am here with the podcast master, Earl.
Hello.
Hey, Earl, how are you? He is with Toy Robot Productions. Toy Robot Productions is responsible for producing Tiny Tarot podcast, and I'm so happy to have Earl here. He does a fantastic job. The Tiny Tarot podcast is on YouTube, Spotify. I am on Facebook, and sometimes I'm on TikTok as well. You can find us on a lot of platforms. Please feel free. I'm going to remind you right now to reach out to us. Send us a message if you have a topic you would like to cover. We're also getting ready to have some people on here live to have reads. I know, I'm so excited about it. I got a couple of volunteers and they're already in the wings. But we just want to remind you also that a tarot read is not a substitute for therapy. This is like a really good conversation with a friend that knows you really well. So if these messages resonate with you, that's wonderful. If they do not, you can move along. That's the way tarot works. I am so happy to have you guys here. The podcast is doing better all the time. The daily reads on Facebook are doing better all the time. So be sure and like, share, and subscribe. And we also have information online about how you can donate to the podcast. We love the donations. Thank you so much. If you have donated, if you're thinking about it in the future, thank you ahead of time. We appreciate it so much. And today, Tiny Tarot is already saying, hey, let's get after it. What's the deal? What's taking so long? Well, today is episode 14, and it happens to be about procrastination. And of course, the way that our podcast works and the way that Tiny Tarot works, we intended to do this one last week. But last week was episode 13 and it was on luck, and we had so many technical problems that we had to put off the one on procrastination. I'm not making this up. Like, this is just how this happened. So we've had a great conversation before the video started rolling to kind of tune the cards to procrastination. Really, the question is, how do we, let's define it real quick, because I got a little bit confused, Earl. We were talking about this. Procrastination starts with pro, so it sounds like it's going to be really good for you. But that is not at all the way procrastination plays out. It's that feeling where you are kind of digging your heels in the dirt. There's something that you know that you have to take care of. Usually an obligation of some kind. Let me say this right now. My dog always barks when somebody goes by, and this is a barky day. So that's Penny in the background, adding her 2 cents to procrastination and Tiny Tarot today. But procrastination is that energy where you feel like you have an obligation, you feel like you have something important that you really need to do. But the energy is, I am digging my heels in, and I am avoiding, and I am, all of a sudden the dishes look really good. I need to do those dishes so that I don't have to do the taxes, that kind of thing. And we're looking at how do we approach the things that we dread with more of a leaning forward and less of a digging heels in and leaning back. Because in that moment, we're not making it any better for ourselves when we put off the inevitable. Wow, that's a bit... All right. And also, I may clear my throat from time to time. That's Tiny Tarot reminding me to trust the message that is coming through on procrastination today. So Tiny Tarot, hey, what have you got to say today on procrastination? How can we get better at getting out ahead of it? And goodness sakes, why are we even procrastinating in the first place? When you know that that's not something that works for you, when you know that it's something that you're going to have to do eventually anyway, why do we even do this to ourselves? All right, Earl, you're the one that gets to pick the stack today. I have put them into 3 even piles. Please choose stack 1, 2, or 3.
3, please.
3, all right. Tiny Tarot, hey, give me something about procrastination today. And the very first card that came out is in reverse. And it's the Page of Swords in reverse. And if you've, oh, wow. Okay, I'm starting to understand this. Page of Swords is that it's kind of the opposite of procrastination. The Page of Swords is when you are excited about something, when you've got a new idea and you are really raring to get going. Even if you don't have all the information of what you need to do next, you're just like, next step. This is a Page of Swords in reverse is exactly the energy of procrastination. It is, instead of excitement, it's dread. And instead of oh, hey, this is woo woo, I'm raring to go. It's more of like, hey, could we put this off until next Wednesday? Because this isn't something that I want to do. Now, remember, the page is on his way to being a knight. Ah, man, I've got so much information coming in already on this just one little card. But he's not a knight yet. You know, he wants that code. You like how that card's making noises there. He wants to know what to do next, but he doesn't. He wants to have the experience, but he's not experienced yet. There are a lot of cool things that the page is looking forward to, but there's a lot of gray area for him because of either it's not experienced, right? I mean, that's the page is youthful. When we talk about levels of maturity in the tarot, the page is really just getting started. And so the first thing that Tiny Tarot has to say is sometimes you're looking at a stick with two kinds of energy on each end. We've got enthusiasm and that raring to go energy. You know, I can't even sleep. I'm so ready, almost like it's Christmas morning, tomorrow morning. We have that kind of get up and go. People are almost having to tell you to calm down when you are in the energy of the Page of Swords. Like, yeah, your ideas are great. You're getting a little weird about it. Okay. So calm down. We'll do what we need to do when it's time to do it. But in this reverse, it's like, yeah, the idea was there, but now it's the opposite end of the stick. I've lost some momentum. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do next. I was excited, but then when I learned a little bit more about it, I kind of lost some of that excitement. You know, it's something like taxes. I keep bringing that up because that's something that I face in my own life where there's a lot of gray area. And even though I felt like I was sure before, I've kind of taken a few steps back and now I'm not so sure about it. And so where before I was raring to go with ideas and with energy and with enthusiasm, suddenly it's kind of flipped to the other side where I have dug my heels in. I am at the Page of Swords reversed right now. Thanks a lot, Tiny Tarot, for describing that so perfectly. And then what we have next is strength. And strength tells you, okay, it's not about, you just got to gird up your loins and be strong and face what it's really not about that. Strength is about, if you look at this card, I love this card, that angel has her hands in the mouth of that lion. And we've said this before, it's like when your dog has eaten something that he shouldn't have eaten, or he's got something that he shouldn't have in his mouth, and you've just got to kind of get brave and pry his mouth open and get in there. It looks like that. But in this case, it's not that the lion is suddenly less of a lion, and so the angel is able to get in there. It's that the angel has tamed this situation, if that makes sense. The angel knows this lion really, really well. I mean, you can tell that. It's like, it's like with a pet that knows you, something that you trust is something that you can take a little bit of risk with. And that's strength. When you have gray areas and you have areas of fear, it's really impossible for you to feel strong. So think about any time that you have something looming in the future that's causing you anxiety. Okay, so anxiety is a big piece of this. When you put in the Page of Swords where you've kind of lost that enthusiasm because you're not sure or disappointment. You've lost your enthusiasm because you're not sure what to do next, or you have experienced disappointment in the past. What comes in next is if you lose that trust, if you lose that basis of trust that you had with yourself, that things were good and things were going okay, and suddenly it becomes anxious and foggy and unclear. You don't know what to do with your own self at that point. I'm seeing it that way. In this strength card, it's almost like you are the angel and you are the lion at that point. You are working with yourself and having to say, look, we've done this before and it didn't go so well, or, we'd kind of put our foot in the water and it was a little chilly. And so we came back out, like that sort of feeling. And now we're a little gun shy. We're a little afraid to take that next step. We're a little afraid to really gird up our loins and reach inside and say, okay, this is what we have to do. Like, give me that thing that you were chewing on that you shouldn't be chewing on. Let me get in there and really push myself to do this next step, even though I don't want to do it. Oh, man, that's not something And why do we even get ourselves in that situation where we were afraid and feeling the anxiety in the first place? Sometimes because we didn't take that strong step in the moment that it was necessary. If that moment floated by, oh, and I've seen this happen because I've done this too. Let's say that you did have an opportunity and you hesitated in that moment of opportunity. You didn't really show the strength in that moment that you feel you should have, okay? And so that opportunity sort of floated by, that window floated by, and now it feels like it's a bit behind and you're having to play catch up. And now that you know that you already kind of missed the one window, you're very hesitant to take that strong step, flip that page of swords and say, okay, here's my enthusiasm. I'm gonna do it now. We get very, very hesitant to do that because of whatever we have placed in the past as this was not as, it didn't go the way that I wanted it to go. I'm a little disappointed in my past. Oh, okay. I am a little disappointed in my past performance when it came to opportunities or responsibilities like this. And therefore, I am less likely to exert that same inner discipline that I've had in the past because I feel like what's the point? It's just going to show me the same thing that it showed me before. So I can't really gird up that strength that I've had in the past when I was excited. When I lose that excitement, when I lose that enthusiasm, when I start to feel like I am not as good at this as I thought I was, I lose the ability to find that inner strength. Oh, okay, that is a lot from 2 cards, but okay, Tiny Tarot, I get it. And the next thing we have is the 4 of Swords. And the 4 of Swords is about calming that anxious mind. So he looks like I'll be honest, it looks like a funeral if you want to be completely real about it. Like someone has come through a battle and this is finally his time to rest. And so what could you say? What, I don't get to rest until I'm dead? No, that's not what this is saying. This is saying giving your mind the kind of freedom from obligation and inner pressure, the same kind of freedom that you would have if you died and left this realm. And that's kind of deep, but think about that. There was actually someone that I heard that was talking about a near-death experience that they had, and the biggest thing that they took away was in that moment when they really felt that they were about to pass over, all obligation, all feeling of obligation fell away from them. And that's huge. How much mental energy are we devoting to that feeling of obligation? What I owe to my family, what I owe to the government, what I owe to my bosses at work, what I owe to my friends, what I owe to my mom, what I owe. And I'm not talking about money at this point. I'm just saying what you feel as an obligation to you starts to weigh on us mentally, and it becomes a pile, that we carry over time. And the only way to really release that is internal. We have to learn how to relax that thought process and let go of the heaviness of the feeling of constant obligation. Because that feeling of constant obligation makes the next thing that we have to do seem a lot heavier. And in that moment, we have to exert so much more strength than we would normally have to in a given situation, especially if we have lost a bit of spark or it's not something that we were excited about in the first place. So learning how to reframe is a big word that's coming in. Learning how to look at obligation differently so that it doesn't feel so much like an obstacle or a heavy burden. Look at those moments. If you do, let's say that you have an obligation to an older grandparent, and your life is busy and it's hard for you to get to them, but at the same time you feel super guilty when you don't. If you can reframe that time with them as precious because you know that they've got not a lot of time left on this plane. They're going to be on another plane pretty soon, and you would love to get as much time with them as possible. When you reframe that, it becomes less of an obligation and more of an opportunity. And when you change from obligation to opportunity, now how much strength you have to exert is completely different. It's not, oh no, I got to block some time, man. We got to go see Nana. It's more of like, oh, I get to go see Nana for a little bit. I'm so excited when I get to see her because I know my time with her is going to be a little bit limited, and I'm going to listen to everything that she has to say, and I'm going to keep it tightly in my heart because I know moving forward, I'm going to look back on these memories and be excited. That's a wonderful way to reframe something that might seem like an obligation that's guilt-loaded with you. And that's part of what this is saying. Ease those thoughts that lead you. Oh, okay, I'm getting it, Tiny Tarot. First of all, take the time to recognize your thoughts. Listen to your thoughts. Listen to what you repeat over and over again when it comes to what it is that you are procrastinating. And see if there are thoughts in there that are leading you to loss of enthusiasm. If you are always repeating to yourself, oh man, I hate doing this. I hate going over there with them because I don't like the place and I don't like the way it looks and it smells funny. If you're constantly thinking in that negative, look at those and take them apart a little bit and say, let's be real about this. I know where I'm going. Maybe if I have to go visit someone and they're in a nursing home, I don't know why this particular message has come in. There may be someone specifically that's concerned about, feeling bad about visiting a relative or someone elderly. So I'm just going to continue with this storyline, but understand it's a storyline that this is a metaphor that you can use with lots of different things. So, rest homes are not super fun to visit. You're facing your own mortality and you're seeing someone that you love that used to be really vital and they're beginning to decline, and that's not fun. And no, the place doesn't smell good. And there's lots of things that go along with that. But if that's where you're focused on those things that you don't like, all that's going to do is give more energy to this reverse Page of Swords. It's feeding what you're not wanting to feed, okay? It's feeding the lion in this situation and making it stronger so that you are losing the ability to fight against that. You know what? In the I don't like column, it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and this has given me more reasons not to do this. But if you take the spotlight off of that do not like column, here we go, and you calm that negative thought process, and you just start turning that wheel a little bit, and go, you know what? If the tables were turned, I know that my Nana would be coming to see me no matter what. She has loved me so much throughout my life. Man, you know what? I need to get over there and just spend a little more time with her and maybe reminisce on some of these really good memories that she and I had together. And maybe she's not completely there and she won't get all of it. But if I just sit with her and calm and peaceful and loving, and I radiate that to her, that's going to be good for both of us. You know what? That'll be good for her and me. So let's go do this. And you just put that spotlight more on what are those exciting things that drove me to that made me love Nana in the first place. Or whatever it is what is the thing that made me want to start this business in the first place? And yes, I want my business to be successful. And so yes, I'm going to do my taxes the right way. And yes, I'm going to do the research that it takes to do it. And yes, I've been really scared about that in the past, but there's no reason for me not to take action. I don't have to take all the action at once. I can take the next step that is logically available to me, and that will bite off one more piece, that will tame that lion just a little bit more, that trust that I'm working with that part of me that likes to be resistant will become a little more stable, and then I'll be able to take this next step without that feeling of obligation and without that feeling of sometimes I don't even really know what to do next. Man, the 7 of Cups comes up next. And sometimes procrastination I like this because it also came up in reverse. So I want to address both parts of the 7 of Cups. In reverse, the 7 of Cups would say, look, there's a lot going out there and I don't like any of it. Like sometimes it's hard for me to find when there's a long list of things that I know what to do. Nothing really stands out as the most important thing to do next. And as a lot of us are coming to find, maybe you have some undiagnosed ADD. There are quite a few of us that have realized that we've put some, I don't know how to say it, like little hacks into place to keep us on track and to keep ourselves focused. We've kind of learned how to work with a brain that works a little bit differently. Like if you're just not a hardcore organized, I'm going to say, if you're in that group of us that are creative, look behind me here. All of this artwork this is the kind of stuff that I do in my spare time. I am a creative and I leave a mess behind me and I am not that organized. So this procrastination for me is often a result of my own poor planning or, not cleaning up from my last, losing things that were important to me because I didn't really pay attention in the moment to where they should go. And wow, look at that 7 of Cups. I mean, that's what your brain feels like when you are in that place of, I'm not even sure what I need to do next. I'm feeling overwhelmed. And in this case, Tiny Tarot kind of goes back to this same 4 of Swords. It's about calming that and understanding the way that your brain works. And yes, a lot of us have come up with some hacks over the years of how to work around that so that other people around us don't notice how bad that we're struggling up here. It kind of comes back to that same when you're working with an older person who's their memory's beginning to deteriorate, but they're really sharp. So they're good at hiding it from you and blowing it off and making it about jokes. But internally, you can tell that it's starting to bother them a little bit. And those of us that struggle with keeping things in order and remembering how much time has passed since the last time that we saw or found or, needed something, and now I need to retrieve it and I'm not sure where it is. Like that, learning how to work with that kind of brain function, it's eaten up a lot of energy in the background over the years. Okay. And so those little tricks and tips that for ourselves, for our internal selves that we thought were working, may be catching up to us, right? The stuff that was keeping us after a while, it's just not working anymore. Like, my pile of receipts can only get so big. It's stuffing them into a box. It's just not what's working for me anymore. Getting a handle on that and understanding that sometimes it takes a little bit more than just you. It is absolutely okay to reach out to whoever the person is in your life that is, the one that you're trying to keep that from, the one that you're trying to go, hey, honey, yeah, of course I know where that is. Oh, absolutely. No, I'm going to get this cleaned up before I start the next thing. Oh, don't worry about it. I'll get that pile of stuff taken care of. All that stuff that you're putting off, and you've got that partner that might be like, oh, some of this needs to be taken care of. It's okay to reach out to them and say, hey, you know what? I have been doing a lot of stuff to try to keep my head above water, but I'm just going to let you know, often I feel overwhelmed. There are a lot of things that I love and a lot of things that I focus on, but there's also a lot of things that I need to take care of, and I am having trouble discerning what really is the most pertinent next step combined with what would be the best and easiest next step for me to take to feel some progress so that I can turn this Page of Swords upside down and get a better handle on that lion that's been behind me going, you're going to take care of this, you're going to take care of this, you're going to take care of this. I have, again, coming back to my own experience, I have done exactly this. I've had to say, all right, I'm a little overwhelmed in this moment, and I realize that there may be a deadline. And so I need someone else to review what I want to do with me. I have a list of things that I want to accomplish. I have a list of things that I've been avoiding. Please help me look at these with a fresh set of eyes to say what would be the best next step for me, and then offer me some encouragement, please, to help get this done so that I can feel back where I need to feel with the yay, I love owning my own business, and yay, I love my family and my connection, and I want to deepen that, and I want to go see my grandma. All of these help me reach out to the person that's nearest to you that you trust and say, I need a little help discerning. I have a lot of things going on in my life. I'm pouring a lot of love out, and I need to determine where that energy is going to be best placed so that my next steps are effective next steps. Because when you see yourself taking an effective next step, which is, it doesn't have to be that big. Okay. Even just cleaning the office so that it's easier to find those things that I was afraid that I wasn't going to be able to find. Taking that one, picking up one of these cups. Boy, sometimes it's like, wow, the piles are so big and there's so many cups and there's so many things to take care of. So you find that outside energy and you say, hey, would you kind of help me pick which one of these cups is going to be? You pick the one and you start the work and you calm your mind and you get that Page of Swords turned around. And now you have a little bit of energy going. Yes, yes, okay. And then the Seven of Swords comes up. This is interesting. This is influence that's going on behind your back that you're not aware of. So my first thought is this can help turn around the ones that you have, let's say the belief systems that you have been able to identify, because there are going to be some that you can identify. Okay? But there's also going to be some running in the background that you have not been able to identify. There are influences on us and reasons why we make decisions that are running in our subconscious that, yeah, sometimes we can see them pretty easily and go, oh, I see why I do that. Yeah. And that's the kind of stuff, that we're talking about with this Four of Swords initially. Take care of, I like this, Tiny Tarot. Take care of what you know you can take care of. Don't worry so much about the stuff that's running in the background. Some of us get hung up on that. I will sometimes too. I'll be like, oh, you know what? I know that I'm doing this practice or I'm doing this habit. Let's put it this way. I'm doing this particular habit because of something that happened to me or I'm evaluating this habit as something that I don't really like. And I want to take steps to change the habit. There's a couple of ways we can do that. We can work with what we can identify and change what we can identify. Or we can get super obsessed and upset over what we cannot yet identify and spend years and years trying to dig and dig and dig and dig. And in this case, Tiny Tarot says your energy is most effectively used on what you can identify. And in the process of working with what you can identify and then recognizing where you're getting better and stronger, the stuff that's going on in the background will begin to take care of itself. Okay, that's the first time I've ever gotten this message. And this specifically, we're talking about procrastination and things that we dread. Okay, so if we can work with this Four of Swords to be really cognizant of what we are able to identify are triggers for us, all right? And then we look at those thoughts and we work with those particular thoughts. And then we are able to pick and choose a good solid next step and recognize that good solid next step so that we're strengthening that ability. It's like working a muscle. We are working that muscle and we are making it stronger. Then this stuff that's been running in the background, that's been pushing that procrastination, even beyond what this Four of Swords are, they're going to take care of themselves. That program begins to fall into order to support this new program that you've put into place. Okay, that's new for me. That's something I haven't gotten from Tiny Tarot before. And that's very exciting because it feels like it begins to influence this. Wow, it feels like it begins to influence this Seven of Cups. There we go. So that it's not so overwhelming anymore. At the end of this, it turns out that getting control over what you have been able to identify. It doesn't have to be everything. It doesn't have to be the whole cloud. It doesn't have to be everything that ever happened. Just getting control of those few thoughts that are influencing you in the moment to not take action. Just work with those. The rest will fall into place, and then your choices become so much clearer to you. Dang! Okay, well, thank you so much, Tiny Tarot, because at the end of this, we have the King of Wands. The wands represent the work that you do in the world, and the king is the most mature when it comes to work. And I'm getting several messages with the king. The king, first of all, knows about proper timing. Okay, he doesn't take action when the timing isn't right. And there's an energy to this that happens when you get, oh, I love this. There's an energy that happens with this with procrastination, now let's think about this, where you've been digging your heels in for a while and you start to feel bad. We've got this Page of Swords upside down and you don't feel particularly strong. And so you get the idea, you know what? I'm just going to gird up my loins and take some action. You didn't consult anybody to say, hey, help me make a good decision here. You didn't really take apart all the negative things that have been driving you to procrastinate in the first place. You just jump up and go, hey, I'm just going to do this thing. And you just take some crazy action. And guess what? Does not turn out the way that you wanted it to, because you didn't do the research. You didn't ask somebody. And you just randomly grabbed one of these cups. And guess what? You picked a big one because you really wanted to make up for the fact that you have not been putting energy where it should have been. So it's kind of like pulling the trigger without really aiming. You just grabbed something and ran. And what happens then? Well, the energy doesn't really go where you want it to. You know what I mean? It's not successful for you. And the stuff that's running in the background just gets reinforced. Oh, and do you think it's going to work in your favor next time? No, sir. No, sir. It's just going to start this whole cycle over again. All right. Now the king, the opposite of that. Absolutely the opposite of that. The king has looked and gone, all right, I have consultants. The king always has advisors. I've got trusted people that I can ask. Hey, look at my situation here. What would you advise would be the next most obvious and helpful place for me to put my energy so that we can start this moving again? And then I took that advice. In fact, it was pretty exciting. And it got me moving again, got me feeling stronger again, made me aware of what has not been working in my favor. And then the next step was obvious. And guess what that took out of the equation? This bullshit that's been running in the background the whole time that was causing a lot of this initial problem to begin with. The king knows when to take action, what action to take, and he's confident in it. He doesn't do the wishy-washy, well, maybe this will, it's like that same, oh my God, I've been so behind on this. Maybe if I do this one crazy big thing, everything will turn out okay. And then it never goes in your favor. And then all it does is reinforce all that negative stuff that's been running in the background. Put you right back at the beginning where you feel bad about it. And now you're even less strong than you were to start with. No, the king says we derail all of that. We really think about our thought process. We take a royal view of this now. All right. I'm king of all of I survey. Let's look at this. Really, I've got advisors. I've got people that help me. I'm going to make a logical next step. I'm going to cut off. I'm going to take a bite that I can take right now. I'm not going to bite off more than I can chew. I'm not going to let guilt drive me into making crazy decisions, taking, crazy action that I might regret, that I might feel bad about, that I might pile on to what's driving my procrastination in the first place. I'm the king of this. I get to make up my own mind. I get to choose how I think about my next step. Okay? And then when I take that action, it's action that's effective. It's action that feels good. It's me going to see the Nana and having a really good time with her and taking a little scrapbook with me and showing her lots of pictures and then coming away with good memories and realizing I don't have to dread the next time that I see her. All of those things, anything that you're doing, if it's paperwork, it's you saying, you know what, I'm going to ask somebody else to show me what the next proper step would be. And then I'm going to clean up my area and I'm going to take the next proper step. And I'm going to pat myself on the back when I have that success. I'm going to focus on those positive thoughts that are going to drive me forward. And I'm going to take away the power that I have given to that stuff that is running in the background that I'm not completely aware what it all is, but I know that I can reprogram that one line at a time by continuing to foster those steps that make me strong, those steps that bring me back to that excited place where I should be at the beginning. Yes, because oddly, it is that excited, energetic, looking forward attitude that puts you into the place of the king. Thank you so much, Tiny Tarot. This actually has helped me quite a bit. I need to journal a little bit more and look at what I have been saying was going to be the outcome if I took action at the wrong time or if I picked the wrong thing. And I know that I've got people in my life that can help me anytime that I feel stuck. And I don't have to be embarrassed by that. That's a big thing. When you're starting out new, you're not going to know. Or when you're in a place where you've lost some energy, you're not, that's the whole reason you're there, is because you're not going to know. Don't let those choices and that next obligation keep you from taking a next necessary, doable, wise, and moving you forward to the next perfect, awesome step. Thank you, Tiny Tarot. This is going to help us release procrastination. I know it. Those of you that have been watching, and if you haven't watched previous podcasts, there's a lesson in every single Tiny Tarot podcast. Isn't there, Earl? Earl will tell you, and they just get better and better. So please like, share, subscribe, and thank you so much for being here today, Tiny Tarot. Hey, I am LowKey Magickal with a K. Have a magical rest of your day.